Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the PHIner Life. I'm your host, Brother Hush. Today, we are celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander heritage. All right, this is that time of the month. Got to give them their flowers. All right, today I have two great patriots with me. I got Wilem Wong, everybody. Wilem Wong, all right, U.S. Army veteran. And then I got Zhi Chen. What's going on, Z? U.S. Navy veteran. I had to represent Army and Navy. It's kind of like the football game, but we're not going to battle it out. We're just going to celebrate it. All right. So let's get right into it. So, Z, you served in the U.S. Navy. Why did you join the Navy and what did you get out of it?
Um, at age over 17, I think the only main reason is for the school. I mean, that's what when recruiter sells. I mean, at 17, I wasn't really thinking about fighting for the country, especially as a female. I guess I was looking more at the benefit side. And I did use the GI Bill, got my master in taxation, and I'm very happy about it.
So, what did you do in the Navy? I mean, you just walk into the recruiter's office and you're like, hey, I want to join the Navy. And they're just like, good,
No, no,
let's
no.
go.
um my cousin somehow she went to the recruiter stations and got introduced to one of the recruiter and was trying to introduce to her about all those great things about Navy. You get all the benefits. In the meantime, you get to serve the country. Then over one of the family dinners, then she was talking about the free traveling, free traveling for you and your parents, fantasies, fantasize a little bit. And I was like, Oh, at that time she brought it up, you can go to school for free. So we were at our senior year. So I was thinking, go to school for free. How that work? So she's like, oh, you wanna go with me to recruiting station in Flushing, New York, to listen to the recruiter. So I went, and I'm the type of person that you can sell anything to me and I'll buy it. You come to my house, you sell everything. I have very soft-hearted person. You sell me everything and I'm so innocent. I will listen to everything. I'm not saying that Navy lying to me or anything, but of course, recruiting job is telling you most of it, 99% of a good stuff, and they didn't tell you 1% of a bad stuff. So I went in, my cousin signed up, I signed up, and it turns out her age has some issues when she came to US, and she's underage. So she couldn't go. And I end up joined the military. And at that moment I was so regretted because she was supposed to go with me. And
Yeah.
I look at her as, she going and I'm gonna follow her. Because when I joined, I was 14 and I just got to the country not too long ago. And my English is not really good. So I really want she can go and I can follow her. So at least she can be my interpreter or something, in a way. But it ended up that I went and she didn't go. Yeah.
Wow. So you were very young. Did you do like the split option where you still went to high school and swore in, or did you leave right after high school and then you went in?
I left right after high school at age of 17. So yeah. And before that, I did not know what the Navy looked like, or I didn't know anything about it. I just signed. And then they gave me those tutoring videos. You have to go to boot camps. You have to cut your hair. I was, what? My hair was really long and I didn't know I have to cut my hair. I didn't know that I have to leave my mom, my family. I didn't know anything about it. I thought, you know what, Navy send you to school, you just walk, you can work. It just, I'm very naive or innocent, you call it.
Oh my gosh. So what did you end up doing? What was your after boot camp and A school? What was
Yeah.
your rate? What did you end up doing?
So my job it's called storekeeper. So now it's logistics specialist. That's my job. But the first year when I went, they told recruiter asked me, what do I want to do? I mean, I don't know, at age of 17. So, so he put me as undesignated. So I was driving boats for a year in Japan. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, give me one funny story. I know there has to be a funny story. You're in Japan,
Oh,
you're driving
driving
boats.
boats.
What's going on?
So we have a night shift and day shift, and it just, what Navy really toughed me up, become who I am today. And some of my friends didn't like it, too tough. When I joined the military, I was very soft, like weak. And they told me that those people that who's senior than me, oh, guys, trying to make fun of me. So he told me, you know what, when you take the boats out in midnight, there's a lot of ghosts in the water. Just be careful. So every night when I have to go out, it just so scary. It traumatized me in a way.
That's kind of messed up. That it was like there's ghosts. I'm not
Yes,
taking that
yes.
boat out there.
So
Oh
at
wow.
17, 18, and it's so dark because you have to drive the boats out to patrol with the wave, with everything, and you have to spot those buoy. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Oh my gosh. So fast forward, you served active duty for 4 years. You go into the reserves?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I hated the Navy when I was in. I shouldn't say it, but when I was in the military, I didn't like it because you know, I'm a girly girl. I do not like uniform. Those things are not comfortable for me. So when I was in the Navy, I tell myself, I do my best to work, as a logistics specialist, follow the rule, follow the guideline. But after 4 years, I'm done. But what's funny thing is when I finished, then I, you know, I don't even know how I joined the reserve. Maybe, I joined the reserve, then I joined the post, because I joined the reserve because of all the continued benefits that, because you serve for another 20 years or 16 years in the reserve, you will be able to qualify for pension. And I thought about it, so I joined for another 4 years.
Wow, nice. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, shoot, see, moral of the story is the proof is in the details when you look to join the military. And don't try to join the military with your cousin because they may not be able to join with you.
Yes.
And make
So,
sure you do your homework before you sign up for life, and before you sign anything, like you should Google it and check stuff, and just, that's why nowadays when people want to sell me everything, I'll say, please don't. I don't care how good it is. I'm not gonna
I'm not
buy
signing
it.
any
I'm
more
not gonna sell it.
contracts.
No,
I
no
learned
more,
my
no more
lesson.
contract, and that's it. No more.
Golly. Oh, Willem, I think you have a vastly different story because you've done over 3 decades of service. All right. Why'd you join the army? And I mean, you fought in 2 wars. You're in Iraq and Afghanistan. You're like a Renaissance man. How'd that come about? How'd your military journey start?
Well, I actually went to aviation high school. So, people think, oh, you went aviation high school. It was pretty much all boys school back then, right? It just became co-ed back in the late 80s. And even though I had no inclination to join the military, even the Air Force, and I heard the Air Force was actually a good place to join, but I ended up joining the Army because I went to Baruch College, sitting in the lunchroom on the 10th floor on 23rd and Lexington. And I said, well, I feel bored. I feel like I got to do something else besides going to college, right? So I joined the Army just as something just to give me a little more excitement, so to speak, right? Because I was bored, and I said, oh, next thing that was 1988, and next thing I'm still serving right now after 32 years, and that includes my time in Iraq, Afghanistan, my being enlisted for 12 years as a combat medic, a nurse, food service specialist, and then the last 20 years as a commissioned officer, as a medical planner, basically. So yeah, it's more than I ever expected, and it definitely, just like Z was saying, it basically it made me the person I am. Gave me a lot of skills and experience that I cannot buy necessarily. You can't buy this type of experience.
So I want a story because you did Iraq and Afghanistan. Iraq, like, what's one memorable experience that you're just like, I can't believe this is really happening to me?
So when I was in Iraq in 2008, I was what they call the Army Civil Affairs Governance Action Officer. I was working on provincial elections. I was working on literacy, basically national literacy for Iraq and economic development. So even though I'm actually a public health officer when I got there, but I ended up flying up north in Kurdistan and speaking with the South Koreans, our coalition partners. And, I'm wearing an Army uniform, US Army uniform. I'm standing next to a South Korean soldiers and some of these, people up in Kurdistan, Iraqis basically walked up to me and started like, hey, I want some money. And I didn't understand what they were asking me about money for and then I found out later, wait a second, are you confusing me for the South Korean soldier, even though I'm in a different uniform? So even though we're all Asians, they didn't look at my uniform. They thought I was wearing the US Army uniform with the patch and everything saying I'm US Army, but they thought it was with the South Korean Army. And because we're working on literacy programs together in Iraq. So that was funny in that sense.
Oh gosh, did you ever get mistaken for like any other Asian cultures? It's kind of sad that they're, oh well, if you look one complexion, okay, we're gonna just attribute you to multiple. So you're Chinese, you were mistaken as South Korean. What's another one? I know there had to have been one or two more.
When I was in basic training, I was mistaken for Japanese by a kid from California. He thought I was Japanese for some reason. And, I was on fire guard duty and, he wanted to pick a fight with me because he didn't want to go to sleep. And my fire guard duty was to make sure people were quiet. If you don't want to sleep, you just got to be quiet, right? But then, he want to act up and I'm like, so to make a long story short, he called me a Jap. And I said, look, I don't need to clarify that for you, but, I'm Chinese. And then, we had an argument, but, we were able to work it out later. So.
Wow. I mean, it's just, I think we have to do better. We have to do better and actually ask and get to know people before we start making assumptions. So that leads me into this question. You both joined the American Legion. You both decided to serve the veteran community. Let's start with you, Z. Why did you join an American Legion post and why did you decide to give back to the veteran community, especially within the Asian community?
Well, I think that we are still minority in the military, and when we was in the military, and I'm not specifically talking about anything discrimination events that toward to myself, but when I was in boot camp, those the driller, they didn't treat us good, and it just sometimes he will make fun of me as being a Chinese, and for me, I think that it's a time for us to stick together, and the American Legion that in Chinatown that mostly are Asians, and also I think that when veterans finish their turns, a lot of stuff that they didn't get taught by in doing transits when they left the military, and a lot of stuff that they didn't know. What should they do and where should they go next? And I think the post is a great places that we can share what we know and the connection that we have, then we can help veterans. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, Wilem, I want to come from a different perspective because not only, are you still serving and you're a part of American Legion, but, in your civilian job, which I'm not going to disclose, but you deal with mental health. You
Yes.
actually deal with health and wellness. from you know, a psychological perspective, why is it so important for veterans to get that help and to seek that help, especially within the veteran community? You know, and it's not just restricted to anything cultural; it's just a thing amongst veterans.
Yes, yes. I'm happy you said that. It's not a cultural thing, right? I think anyone that joined the military, you are just like Z was saying. You know, you become a different person. You might, if you were passive, you become a little more proactive, a little more possibly aggressive compared to your former self, maybe, right? So, you know, that might be seen as what they call alpha, right? You basically like take the initiative, be proactive, seize the opportunity, right? You don't wait for things to happen. So, with that mentality, you have to, you know, you take on a lot more risks. You take on a lot more, you know, criticism because you take a more active role. And you know, if you're not that type of person that could take criticism, or you're not used to, especially in the cultural point of view from Asians in general, right? You try to be part of the group, try not to stand out. So trying to be an individual is also difficult sometimes because that leads you to be possibly picked on, right? As an individual. So you have to have a strong mindset, and serving in the military, you know, you just have to have a thick skin regardless. Um, because people will criticize you for anything. It could be your skin color, could be your ethnic background, could be your social economic, the way you speak, the way you don't speak, and this and that, right? So I consider myself a introvert. So people think that's just because I don't speak that often, that doesn't mean that that I don't have an opinion. I do have an opinion. I just don't choose to share it all the time, right? That's why I think in Western cultures, like you have to share your opinion, regardless of you if people want it to hear it or not. I don't want to me, I don't want to hear myself, right? Unless you ask me for my opinion, I'll give it to you. But unless it's critical that I share my opinion with you, I don't do that. And sometimes the mental health issues that, you know, we get picked on, and you know, we do have to seek help on our own terms and in our own time. And I tell people, I think when you get to a certain age, like I am right now, after 30 years of service, that you there's a lot of things that you go through that you can't. You don't go through 30 years unscathed. That's what I'm saying. You will get some bruises and knocked. You get knocked down. You get knocked. You know, but you got to get back up, right? So sometimes you got to take care of that mental health part of it too, while you get knocked down at the same time to get back up.
Right. All right. So we're gonna end off the show with this last question. And Z, I want you to take it away. I want you to take a little stab at it. So why is it important? And you know, you served honorably, you continue to serve the veteran community. Why is it important to basically preserve your heritage as a, you know, Asian American? Why is it important? Why do you feel that, you know, speaking from the Asian perspective, you know, what is the importance of preserving, you know, your culture?
I mean, U.S. is a diversified country, you know, diversified culture country, and I don't know how to answer this. Maybe William can go first.
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
Willem.
So all right, so I want to highlight something, right? So you know, there's a term that Chinese people, Asian Americans that are born Chinese speak about, right? I'm actually ABC, right? American born Chinese, they call it, right? I know Z was born overseas, in China, Hong Kong, China, I assume, right? Or Hong Kong, I'm not sure.
Fujian.
Fujian. Okay, so you know, obviously my parents are from China. My dad's from Toisan, and my mom's from outside of Hong Kong. So that's China, right? Even then, you and I, you know, even though we're in the United States, we grew up differently in the sense that, I learned English as a second language, but my Chinese not that good because I was born here and never really developed my Chinese as well as yours because you immigrated here later in life. Um, so part of being aware of your proud of your own heritage, that I actually didn't feel proud of my own heritage until after I got after Afghanistan. It's crazy. After serving so many years, I felt more comfortable in my own skin, to be comfortable to say that, you know what, you know, I'm proud of my heritage. It's led me to what I am today, and to share that to other people. We all, obviously, we join the military. We have a common foundation of going through basic training, boot camp, whatever, right? But we also want to highlight that we also have differences that bring us together, right, as a team.
It just we can bring in different cultures and teach and educate our, you know, fellow sellers. And also sometimes they'll be like, oh, you know, where's Fujian? What type of food you guys eating? Or is it just you bring in a lot of different background? You have a different background. You bring different ideas when we come into working as a team, when we're trying to do problem solving. And I like the idea of, you know, people coming from different background, bringing in different perspective. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you paused.
Awesome. Am I on pause now? Okay, I should be on pause. All right. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much, Wilem. Thank you so much, Zhi. Everybody, it's Asian American Heritage Pacific Islander Month. Celebrate with them. Thank you for sharing your stories. And please follow us, Mu Beta Phi Military Fraternity. All right. You can find us online at mbphikings.2017.org. That's mbphikings 2017 mbphikings2017.org. All right. It's right here if I messed it up. All right. My internet is kind of funky. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
See
you.
you at the next show.
Thank you. Thanks, Greg, for being on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.